Under the shadow of an unassuming dawn, Earth trembled quietly, unaware that its children held the key to a fate far greater than any could imagine. These were not ordinary children. No, their minds shimmered with a power both ancient and wild, their bodies harboring forces that bent the very fabric of reality. As distant stars whispered secrets to the cosmos, a fleet of alien ships pierced the atmosphere, their arrival shattering the fragile peace. Governments scrambled, their leaders gripped by fear and confusion, but none could predict the storm that would erupt from Earth's youngest defenders. It was a fear not born of mere weapons or brute strength, but of something far more profound, a legacy older than the stars themselves, awakening within these children, a force the galaxy's most advanced civilizations had long sought to suppress. What made Earth's children so terrifying was not their power alone, but the untamed hope and defiance burning in their eyes, a spark that could ignite revolutions and topple empires. In that moment, as the alien armada hovered ominously above, a silent battle began, one fought in shadows, in whispered legends, and in the hearts of those brave enough to believe. Behind closed doors, alien commanders debated in tense urgency, their voices trembling with an ancient dread. These children were not mere anomalies, they were the living embodiment of a cosmic force long buried beneath layers of forgotten history. The empire they served had once waged war against this force, binding it with chains forged from technology and fear. But Earth's children, born of a planet untouched by galactic tyranny, carried that power within their veins. The aliens' greatest fear was not invasion or rebellion. It was the unpredictable awakening of these young souls, capable of unraveling centuries of control and domination. Across Earth, secret programs mobilized to either harness or eliminate these threats. But the children's powers resisted containment. Friendships blossomed in hidden corners, alliances formed in secret, and a silent resistance grew beneath the surface. As whispers of fear spread through alien ranks, the children themselves remained unaware of the vast storm gathering around them, a storm that would soon reveal the true meaning of fear, hope, and the unbreakable bond between Earth's children and the stars. Far beyond the atmosphere, a shadow stretched across the void, a shadow that promised to engulf all hope or set the stage for a new beginning. As alien warships darkened the skies, the children gathered in clandestine circles, their powers awakening with growing intensity. Each heartbeat echoed with the promise of rebellion, each breath carried the weight of an ancient legacy. Kale, a boy with eyes reflecting the endless cosmos, felt the force stirring within him, a tempest of raw energy and unspoken destiny. He was not alone. Around him, the children's gifts shimmered like stars in a vast galaxy, each unique yet bound by a common thread. The battle for Earth's future was no longer a distant dream. It was here, unfolding in silence, waiting for the moment when hope would either ignite or be extinguished. And as the first tendrils of conflict reached across the sky, the true terror of the alien armada's presence began to reveal itself, not in weapons or fleets, but in the shadow of fear cast by Earth's children themselves, a fear that would ripple through the cosmos and change everything. Beneath the cold gaze of distant stars, the children of Earth stirred with an awakening that no one could have foreseen. Their powers, once hidden and misunderstood, now surged with a fierce intensity, resonating like a cosmic symphony woven through the fabric of space and time. Governments worldwide scrambled to comprehend this sudden blossoming, establishing secret enclaves where these gifted youths were studied, controlled, or in some cases, feared and restrained, but the children refused to be caged. In the quiet corners of the world, whispers of rebellion began to grow louder, as they found one another, united by an unspoken bond that transcended language, culture, and species. Kale, his mind a storm of uncharted potential, became a beacon among them, his growing powers both a promise and a warning. The alien armada, looming like a dark eclipse above Earth, watched with growing apprehension, their own fears crystallizing into desperate plans. The balance of power shifted subtly but irrevocably, as the children's innocence morphed into a formidable force that could either save or doom the galaxy. In the shadowy chambers of the alien command, fear festered like a wound refusing to heal. Their ancient empire, once unchallenged and unyielding, now faced a threat born not of brute force, but of unpredictable evolution. These children, Earth's forbidden legacy, possessed a connection to the cosmic energies that the aliens had long sought to suppress. The Empire's scientists pored over ancient texts and forbidden knowledge, seeking a weakness or a way to harness this power before it spiraled beyond their control. Yet every attempt only seemed to deepen the children's abilities, igniting sparks of rebellion across the planet. Alliances formed in unexpected places. Some alien defectors reached out covertly to Earth's children, recognizing that their survival depended on cooperation rather than conquest. Meanwhile, the children's own unity was tested by fear, mistrust, and the crushing weight of destiny. The silent war waged on, its outcome hanging in the balance as the cosmos held its breath for the next move. Across the globe, hidden sanctuaries became crucibles of hope and defiance. Kale and his closest allies honed their skills in secret, each discovery unveiling new facets of their powers and their origins. Their abilities were not merely genetic anomalies but echoes of an ancient cosmic force intertwined with Earth's history itself, a force that could either heal the galaxy or tear it apart. As the alien fleet prepared to strike, the children grew bolder, their powers radiating like a lighthouse in the darkness, attracting both allies and enemies. The tension between worlds escalated, the fragile peace shattered beyond repair. The children's battle was no longer just for survival. It was a struggle for the very soul of existence, a war fought in shadows and light, where every choice could tip the scales towards salvation or destruction. And in the quiet before the storm, Kale's gaze met the stars once more, knowing that the fate of Earth's children was about to be written in fire. Far beyond the limits of Earth's skies, the fragile threads of peace unraveled as first contact between humans and the alien envoys shattered any illusions of diplomacy. These emissaries, cloaked in an aura of cold authority, carried a message thick with warning and veiled threats. Yet beneath their polished facades lay a trembling fear that betrayed the true reason for their mission. The children's inexplicable powers had begun to disrupt the very technology that propelled their mighty vessels through the void, causing equipment to falter and communication to crackle with static. It was a vulnerability no advanced species wanted to reveal, yet here it was, exposed by the sheer unpredictability of Earth's youngest defenders. As Earth's leaders grappled with the reality of this precarious balance, the children themselves remained caught between innocence and the burden of a destiny none had asked for. Kale, standing at the crossroads of emerging leadership and youthful uncertainty, felt the weight of a galaxy's future pressing on his shoulders. The first sparks of rebellion ignited quietly in the shadows, a flicker of hope and defiance that promised to burn brighter than any alien star. Back on the alien flagship, commanders convened in urgency, their discussions laced with dread and disbelief. The Empire's ancient edicts forbade underestimating any force, yet these Earth children were rewriting the rules. They were not merely anomalies to be contained or destroyed, but potential catalysts of chaos that could unravel centuries of control. Secret plans were hastily drawn, ruthless strategies meant to stifle this growing threat before it could ignite into open war. But the children, connected by bonds stronger than mere friendship, began to anticipate these moves. Their powers evolved, learning and adapting like a living weapon shaped by their collective will. Amid the turmoil, whispers of sympathy emerged even within alien ranks. Not all feared the children. Some saw in them the possibility of change, a hope for peace where there had only been conquest. Yet the clock was ticking, and the shadows lengthened as the lines between friend and foe blurred. On Earth, the children gathered in hidden sanctuaries, their powers pulsing with newfound intensity. Each secret meeting was a fragile step toward unity, a gathering storm preparing to break free. Kale's resolve hardened as he faced the stark reality. This was no longer a game of survival, but a battle for the soul of his world and the cosmos beyond. The children's gifts, once scattered and misunderstood, were forging a new legacy written in courage and sacrifice. The alien envoy's warning echoed in the depths of Kale's mind, a constant reminder of the stakes involved. Yet within this crucible of fear and hope, a question burned hotter than any weapon. Could the children not only defend Earth, but also change the destiny imposed upon them by centuries of cosmic fear? As distant stars watched silently, the stage was set for a confrontation that would either shatter or save the fragile peace of the universe. And with the first tremors of that coming storm, Cale stepped forward, his heart heavy but unyielding, ready to face whatever shadows lurked beyond the stars. In the quiet spaces between war and peace, Earth's children wrestled with the immense weight of their awakening powers and the roles fate had thrust upon them. Each of them was a living paradox, innocent yet dangerous, vulnerable yet unbreakable. As Cale stood among them, a reluctant leader whose eyes bore the vastness of the cosmos, he felt the pulse of history beneath his skin, a reminder that their struggle was not merely for survival, but for the very essence of what it meant to be human. The alien armada's shadow stretched longer, their presence an ever-looming threat that turned the skies into a battlefield of anticipation and dread. But it was not the alien weapons that stirred the deepest fear. It was the children themselves, those unpredictable forces of nature that could bend reality and fracture empires. Across hidden enclaves, alliances formed not only among humans but with alien defectors who saw in the children a chance for redemption, a hope that transcended the cold calculus of conquest. Yet within this fragile web of hope and despair, the children faced internal struggles as well. Fear and mistrust threatened to tear apart the fragile unity they had forged in the shadows. Old wounds surfaced, and secrets whispered in the dark threatened to unravel the bonds that held them together. Cale's journey was as much inward as it was outward, grappling with the loneliness of leadership and the heavy burden of responsibility. His powers, once a mysterious storm within, now shaped the fate of many, making him a beacon of hope and a target for those who wished to extinguish the light. As the alien armada prepared for their decisive strike, time itself seemed to fracture, moments stretching and collapsing in a tense dance between impending destruction and fragile hope. The children's defiance was a spark that could ignite galaxies or reduce them to ashes, and the coming conflict would test every fiber of their being. In the darkest hours before the storm, whispers of ancient prophecies echoed through forgotten corridors of power, hinting at a cosmic design that bound Earth's children to the fate of the stars. The alien empire's greatest fear was not just their power, but their potential to awaken a force that could rewrite the laws of existence. As fleets mobilized and worlds held their breath, Cale looked to the horizon, sensing the convergence of destinies that would either unite or forever divide the galaxy. The children's rebellion was no longer a secret, it was a beacon blazing across the void, challenging the silence of centuries and daring to dream of a new dawn. And as the first shadows of battle crept over Earth's horizon, a revelation waited in the wings, a truth so profound that it would change everything they thought they knew about fear, power, and the indomitable spirit of Earth's children. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, where silence often reigned supreme, Earth's children emerged as a thunderous force that shattered the illusions of peace and control. The alien armada, once confident in its dominion, now grappled with the unpredictable power surging from a planet they had long dismissed. Their advanced technologies flickered uncertainly in the presence of abilities that defied logic, bending reality and challenging centuries of cosmic order. Cale, standing at the heart of this growing storm, felt the weight of destiny press upon him with relentless urgency. His every decision rippled across the fragile fabric of galactic politics, igniting hope among some and fear among many. As Earth's children gathered in secret strongholds, their powers grew not just in strength but in unity, a testament to the resilience that had always been their greatest weapon. The alien commanders, haunted by memories of past defeats and the shadow of an ancient prophecy, prepared for a confrontation that could either end their reign or rewrite the very laws that governed existence. Meanwhile, across Earth's sprawling cities and forgotten wilderness, the children trained relentlessly, pushing the limits of their abilities and forging bonds that transcended their individual fears and doubts. Cale's leadership was tested daily as he navigated a complex web of alliances, betrayals, and sacrifices. The stakes had never been higher, and the line between friend and foe blurred beneath the weight of survival. Whispers of rebellion spread like wildfire, carried on the winds of hope and desperation. The alien armada's assault loomed ever closer, a specter threatening to consume everything in its path. Yet, amidst the chaos, moments of profound humanity flicker, laughter shared in hidden corners, tears shed for lost friends, and dreams whispered beneath the stars. These fragments of light were the true power of Earth's children, a force no technology could ever replicate or destroy. As the first clash of fleets erupted beyond Earth's atmosphere, the children's defiance took shape in spectacular displays of power that shook the foundations of the galaxy. Kale, at the forefront of this rebellion, confronted the brutal realities of war and the sacrifices it demanded. Every victory came with a cost, every hope shadowed by the looming specter of loss. The alien empire, desperate to reclaim control, unleashed their deadliest weapons, forcing the children to adapt or perish. Yet, in the heart of the conflict, a deeper mystery began to unravel, a secret buried in the ancient stars, a connection between Earth's children and the cosmic forces that shaped the universe itself. This revelation would change the course of the war, and with it, the fate of every soul caught in the struggle. As the battle raged, Kale's gaze lifted to the heavens, knowing that the true test was yet to come, and that the final chapter of their story had only just begun. Amidst the chaos of battle and the relentless tension that gripped every corner of the galaxy, the children of Earth found themselves at a crossroads where their newfound powers and fragile alliances would be tested like never before. Kale's leadership was no longer just about guiding his peers. It had become a beacon for an entire galaxy teetering on the edge of annihilation and hope. Each moment brought new challenges that pushed the limits of their abilities and their trust in one another. The alien armada, desperate to maintain control, intensified their assaults with brutal precision, attempting to fracture the unity that the children had painstakingly built. Yet, even as war threatened to consume them, the children's resolve burned brighter, fueled by a growing understanding that their true strength lay not merely in their powers, but in the unbreakable bonds of family and friendship forged in the fires of conflict. The shadow of an ancient cosmic prophecy loomed larger, weaving through the events like a silent puppeteer guiding the fate of all involved. This prophecy, long buried in forgotten tomes and whispered legends, spoke of a force born of Earth's children that could either save or doom the galaxy. As fragments of this prophecy emerged, Kale and his allies struggled to decipher its meaning, knowing that the choices they made would echo across time and space. The alien empire's desperation grew, leading to darker strategies that threatened to unravel the very fabric of existence. Hidden within these schemes were betrayals that cut deeper than any weapon, testing the limits of loyalty and trust. Yet amidst the despair, hope flickered in unexpected places. Alliances with alien defectors, moments of compassion between enemies, and the unwavering belief that a new future was possible. As the children prepared for a decisive confrontation, Kale's heart weighed heavy with the knowledge that victory would demand sacrifices beyond imagination. In the quiet before the next storm, Earth's children gathered beneath the starlit sky, their powers pulsing in harmony with the cosmos. Each face reflected a mixture of fear, determination, and the fragile hope that had carried them this far. The galaxy watched and waited, caught in the tension between destruction and salvation. Kale's gaze swept across the horizon, feeling the weight of destiny pressing closer with every heartbeat. The war was no longer about territory or power. It was a battle for the very soul of existence, where the outcome would redefine what it meant to be alive in a universe teetering on the brink. And as the first rays of a new dawn touched the earth, the children steeled themselves for the storm to come, knowing that their story was far from over, and that the true test of their courage was yet to begin. Under the cold glare of a distant sun, Earth's children moved deeper into the labyrinth of their destiny, each step uncovering layers of cosmic mystery and growing peril that threatened to engulf them entirely. Kale, once a boy marked by uncertainty and fear, had transformed into a symbol of unyielding hope, his powers a beacon slicing through the darkest shadows cast by the relentless alien armada. The battle they fought was no longer limited to physical realms. It spilled into the very fabric of existence itself, where energy, will, and belief intertwined to shape reality in ways that defied comprehension. Across hidden sanctuaries, in war-torn cities cloaked beneath veils of secrecy, the children trained endlessly, their abilities blossoming and evolving like a living force bound to the cosmos. Yet every new discovery brought both wonder and dread, for with each secret unlocked, the children came to understand the true scale of their fight. It was not merely against an alien empire bent on domination, but against an ancient cosmic order that had sought for millennia to suppress their potential and control the flow of power through the universe. This realization ignited in their hearts a potent mixture of fear, defiance, and determination, knowing that the fragile fate of countless worlds now rested upon their untested shoulders. The weight was crushing, yet it forged their resolve into something unbreakable, a storm of youthful courage that would not be extinguished no matter the cost. Within the cold, stark halls of the alien command, desperation twisted into obsession, driving the Empire's leaders to pursue forbidden technologies and ancient rituals that blurred the lines between ruthless science and dark sorcery. They deployed their most insidious weapon, not mere brute force, but the manipulation of fear itself, an invisible toxin seeping into the hearts of Earth's children. Whispers of doubt, seeds of discord, and cunning betrayals began to fracture the fragile bonds the children had formed in their secret sanctuaries. Every victory was shadowed by suspicion. Every act of bravery was haunted by the possibility of treachery lurking just beneath the surface. Yet even as shadows crept relentlessly within, moments of profound connection and hope flickered like distant stars scattered across a moonless sky. Kale found unexpected allies in the most unlikely places, alien defectors who had grown disillusioned with the Empire's iron grip, and chose instead to stand with Earth's children, risking everything for a chance at redemption and a new future. These tenuous alliances, delicate but vital, wove a tapestry of resistance that grew stronger and more complex with every passing day, a network of courage and conviction spanning worlds and species. The galaxy watched in silent anticipation, breath held tight, as this wildfire of rebellion blazed brighter, promising to reshape the very fabric of the cosmos in ways no one could yet predict. And as the first echoes of the next great conflict stirred in the cold void beyond Earth's skies, Kale steeled himself against the coming storm, knowing that the choices he and his friends would make in the hours ahead would define not only their survival but the destiny of all life in universe. As the children prepared for what could be their most decisive battle, the tension between hope and despair tightened like a vice around their hearts. The cosmic forces awakening within them thrummed with energy both beautiful and terrifying, a duality that reflected their own inner struggles. Each child wrestled with fear, grief, and the crushing burden of responsibility, but none more so than Kale, whose journey had become a crucible of sacrifice and resilience. The ancient prophecies whispered through forgotten corners of the galaxy now seemed less like myth and more like an unavoidable reality, their cryptic verses hinting at a power buried deep within Earth's children, a power that could either heal a broken universe or accelerate its destruction. The weight of this knowledge pressed down on Kale, who found himself at the crossroads of hope and doom, leadership and vulnerability. In the quiet moments beneath the stars, he wondered if the universe would remember them as heroes or as the children who brought about its end. Yet even as doubt gnawed at him, a fierce flame of inspiration burned within, a testament to the indomitable spirit that had carried humanity through its darkest hours. The final confrontation loomed closer, a storm of shadows and light that would test every bond, every secret, and every ounce of courage they possessed. And as the horizon glowed faintly with the first light of a new day, Kale's heart beat steadily with one truth: no matter the cost, Earth's children would fight to shape their own destiny. Beneath the vast expanse of the cosmos, where stars shimmered like ancient sentinels guarding secrets long forgotten, Earth's children found themselves standing at the precipice of a battle that would echo through time itself. The alien armada, once confident in its dominance, now trembled in the face of a force born not of mere technology, but of raw, unpredictable power, the innate gifts of humanity's youngest warriors. Kale's presence among them was a lighthouse in the encroaching darkness, his resolve tempered by the losses endured and the weight of a destiny that seemed woven into the very fabric of the stars. Every step forward was a defiance against the shadow of annihilation, a testament to the resilience that had always defined humankind's spirit. Yet the path was treacherous, littered with unseen dangers and the constant threat of betrayal from within and without. As alliances shifted and the fabric of trust stretched thin, the children's powers evolved in ways that both awed and terrified them, manifesting phenomena that challenged their understanding of reality and the cosmos. It was clear that this war was more than a clash of armies. It was a collision of ideologies, of futures, and of the very essence of life itself. Deep within the alien empire's core, desperation fermented into ruthless innovation. Commanders unleashed experimental weapons designed to suppress the children's extraordinary abilities, blending ancient rituals with cutting-edge science in a frantic bid to regain control. Yet these efforts only highlighted the growing fear beneath their armor, a fear that Earth's children might unlock a cosmic force beyond even their grasp, a force that could unravel empires and rewrite destinies. Meanwhile, among the scattered factions that once opposed Earth's rebellion, whispers of dissent grew louder, with some alien defectors openly questioning the morality of their leader's war. These unlikely allies offered crucial insights and hope, their knowledge bridging gaps that technology alone could not fill. As the tension escalated, the children grappled with their own inner conflicts, fear of their powers, grief for fallen comrades, and the crushing burden of a future that seemed uncertain at best. Yet in these moments of doubt, their collective will forged an unbreakable bond, a unity that transcended species and history. The universe watched in breathless anticipation, the stage set for a confrontation that would decide not just the fate of Earth's children, but the survival of hope itself. As the first echoes of battle rippled across the galaxy, Kale stood at the forefront, his eyes reflecting the swirling chaos of stars and war. The choices they faced were stark, the consequences unforgiving, and the path forward shrouded in shadows both literal and metaphorical. Every victory carried the weight of sacrifice, every loss a painful lesson etched into their souls. Yet amid the turmoil, the children found strength in the unlikeliest of places, the simple acts of compassion, the bonds forged in shared struggle, and the relentless belief that their story was far from over. As dawn's light crept across the horizon, casting long shadows over the battered landscapes of Earth and beyond, Kale's thoughts turned to the future, uncertain, dangerous, but filled with a fierce hope that burned brighter than any star. And as the distant rumble of the next wave of conflict began to swell, he understood with chilling clarity that the true battle was only just beginning. Beneath the unyielding gaze of distant galaxies, Earth's children faced an ever-tightening noose woven from shadows of fear and threads of ancient prophecy. Kale's journey, once a solitary path of discovery, had become a crucible where the fate of countless worlds converged. Each new day brought fresh challenges that tested the limits of their extraordinary abilities and the fragile alliances that held the rebellion together. The alien armada, their arrogance replaced by dread, unleashed devastating tactics designed to fracture not only bodies but spirits. War was no longer just a contest of weapons, but a battle for the very soul of existence. Yet amid the chaos, Earth's children discovered moments of breathtaking beauty, quiet spaces where hope blossomed despite the ruin. Bonds forged in adversity grew stronger, a silent defiance against the crushing weight of despair. Kale's leadership was a beacon in the darkness, guiding his people through storms both external and internal. Their unity became their greatest weapon, a force the alien empire could neither predict nor control. Within the cold, mechanical heart of the enemy's command, desperation birthed sinister experiments that blurred lines between life and machine, consciousness and control. The Empire's leaders turned to forbidden technologies, hoping to harness and corrupt the children's powers for their own ends. These twisted creations became living nightmares, spreading terror in their wake, forcing the children to confront horrors not just from without but within themselves. Betrayal lurked in unexpected corners, as spies and traitors threatened to unravel the fragile tapestry of resistance. Yet in the midst of this darkness, moments of unexpected grace shone through. Alien defectors, once enemies, risked everything to aid Earth's children, their courage a testament to the transformative power of hope. The prophecy, once cryptic and distant, began to reveal itself in flashes of insight and destiny, promising both salvation and sacrifice. Kale understood that their struggle was not just for survival, but for the soul of a universe hanging in precarious balance. As the next great battle loomed, the tension between fear and hope reached a breaking point. The children's powers surged unpredictably, reflecting their inner turmoil and the vast stakes of the conflict. Kale's heart weighed heavy with the knowledge that victory would demand unimaginable sacrifices, that the line between hero and martyr was thinner than ever before. The galaxy held its breath as Earth's children prepared to face the storm, their courage a fragile flame against the overwhelming darkness. And as the first shadows of the impending conflict stretched long across the stars, Kale's thoughts turned to the unknown future, a future forged in fire, where every choice could mean salvation or destruction, and where the children's true power would finally be revealed. Beneath the endless tapestry of stars, Earth's children stood on the threshold of a reckoning that would define not just their own lives, but the fate of the entire galaxy. Kale, whose journey had transformed him from uncertain youth into a symbol of unyielding hope and relentless courage, faced the weight of destiny heavier than ever before. The battles fought, the sacrifices made, and the secrets uncovered had brought them to this moment, a fragile edge between annihilation and salvation. The alien armada's relentless assault had pushed them to the brink, but within each child burned a power far greater than any weapon forged in cold steel or harsh technology. It was a force born of unity, resilience, and a deep, unwavering belief that they could change the course of the universe itself. Every heartbeat echoed with the urgency of a future hanging in the balance, every breath a silent vow to fight for the light that refused to be extinguished. The war had become a symphony of chaos and hope, with moments of breathtaking bravery intertwined with crushing loss. Kale's leadership had been tested beyond limits, guiding a fractured coalition of humans and alien defectors through storms of doubt and waves of despair. They had faced enemies not only of flesh and machine, but of fear, betrayal, and ancient cosmic forces that sought to suppress the very essence of life. The prophecy, once a distant whisper in forgotten legends, now loomed large in their minds, a cryptic promise of both salvation and sacrifice. As they prepared for the final confrontation, the weight of this knowledge settled heavily on their souls. They knew that the choices ahead would demand sacrifices beyond imagination, that the line between victory and ruin was thinner than the fragile threads holding their unity together. Yet amid the looming darkness, a fierce flame of hope burned brighter than ever, a testament to the unbreakable spirit that had carried Earth's children through their darkest hours. As the galaxy held its breath, the final battle erupted with a fury that shook the heavens. Kale and his allies faced the alien armada in a confrontation that transcended the physical, a clash of wills and destinies that would echo through eternity. Powers long dormant awakened within the children, their abilities merging with the raw energy of the cosmos to create a force both beautiful and terrifying. The struggle was brutal, filled with moments of despair and bursts of triumphant courage that lit the darkness like stars igniting a new dawn. Sacrifices were made, alliances tested, and secrets revealed, each turning the tide in unpredictable ways. In the crucible of war, Kale found himself standing not just as a leader, but as the embodiment of humanity's resilience and hope. As the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded into silence, the galaxy was forever changed. The children of Earth had not only survived but reshaped the destiny of countless worlds. Their story a powerful reminder that even in the darkest times, light could be found in the courage of those who dared to believe. The aftermath of the great battle left Earth's children standing amid ruins that stretched beyond imagination. Planets scarred, civilizations shattered, and stars dimmed in the vast silence of space. Yet within the wreckage, a fragile hope flickered. Kale, battle, worn but unbroken, felt the heavy weight of leadership press down harder than ever before. The galaxy no longer whispered of mere survival. It demanded rebirth, a renewal that would challenge everything humanity and its allies thought possible. The children's powers, once raw and unpredictable, now glowed with a fierce clarity, guiding them toward uncharted paths where ancient cosmic forces awaited. These powers were not gifts alone, but burdens entwined with responsibility, calling Kale and his companions to delve deeper into mysteries older than the stars themselves. The scars they carried were reminders of sacrifices made, yet also symbols of a future forged through pain and perseverance. As whispers of new threats emerged from the cosmic shadows, Kale understood that the peace they fought so hard to claim was fragile, a delicate thread threatening to snap beneath the weight of unseen enemies lurking beyond the veil. Beneath the surface of victory, tensions simmered within the ranks of Earth's children and their diverse allies. The once unified front began to show cracks born from fear, mistrust, and the heavy toll of endless conflict. The alien defectors, though allies, carried their own secrets and agendas, creating uneasy alliances that required constant vigilance. Kale's role evolved from warrior to mediator, balancing fragile egos and the desperate need for cohesion in a galaxy still rife with danger. At the same time, revelations about the true nature of their powers unsettled many, powers that hinted at a cosmic heritage tangled with ancient beings whose intentions were anything but benevolent. These revelations brought both awe and dread, casting long shadows over the fragile optimism that had begun to take root. As old enemies regrouped and new factions vied for control in the power vacuum left behind, Kale realized the fight for the galaxy's soul was far from over. The coming days would demand not only strength, but wisdom and sacrifice beyond what anyone had yet imagined. As the stars shifted and the universe held its breath, Kale stood poised on the edge of a new chapter, one where the true battle for destiny would unfold not only across battlefields but within hearts and minds. The journey ahead promised challenges that would test the limits of loyalty, courage, and the very definition of what it meant to be human. Earth's children, once seen as mere survivors, were becoming architects of a new cosmic order, their choices echoing through the void like ripples in a boundless ocean. And as the first whispers of the next great conflict stirred in the dark, Kale's resolve hardened. They would fight, not just to protect what remained, but to shape a future where fear no longer reigned, and the light of hope burned brighter than any star in the galaxy. The galaxy, scarred but unbroken, was slowly awakening from the chaos that had almost consumed it. Earth's children, those extraordinary beings once underestimated by the alien empires, now stood as beacons of hope and defiance against the darkness. Kale's gaze swept across the remnants of battlefields that stretched across distant stars, each scar telling a story of loss and triumph intertwined. Yet beneath this fragile peace, new dangers simmered quietly in the shadows, threatening to unravel everything they had fought for. Ancient cosmic forces, once thought to be myths whispered among the stars, began to stir, drawn by the resonance of the children's powers that now pulsed with unprecedented intensity. This awakening was both a blessing and a curse, a beacon calling out for salvation, but also a siren's song heralding new conflicts that could consume entire worlds. Kale understood that the battle for the galaxy's future was no longer just about survival or victory. It was about confronting truths buried in the fabric of existence itself. Each child bore a spark of this cosmic energy, and with it came a responsibility that transcended mortal fears and ambitions. The weight of this burden pressed on Kale's shoulders, yet it also fueled his determination to lead, to protect, and to inspire in the face of an uncertain horizon. Within the fragile coalition forged in the fires of war, cracks began to show that threatened to undo everything Kale and his allies had achieved. The alien defectors who had once turned their backs on tyranny now wrestled with their past allegiances, their motives as complex and unpredictable as the galaxies themselves. Distrust simmered beneath the surface, whispered fears of betrayal shadowing every council meeting and strategic decision. Kale found himself not only a warrior but a diplomat, navigating treacherous political waters where every word and gesture could tip the balance toward unity or destruction. Meanwhile, the children themselves grappled with the mysterious evolution of their powers. What once were simple manifestations of their will now twisted into enigmatic forces that defied understanding, forces that could alter time, space, and the very laws of nature. These changes brought awe but also terror, as some children lost control, their powers wreaking havoc on those they sought to protect. The revelation that their abilities were linked to an ancient cosmic lineage unearthed more questions than answers, and the search for truth became a race against time as darker entities, awakened by the same energies, moved in the shadows with malicious intent. Kale's resolve was tested like never before, knowing that the very powers meant to save them could also be their undoing. As the cosmic winds shifted and the threads of destiny intertwined ever tighter, Kale prepared for a confrontation that would define the fate of the galaxy for generations to come. The final path was unclear, shrouded in mystery and danger, but one truth stood clear: the children of Earth had become more than survivors. They were the architects of a new era. The stars themselves seemed to pulse with anticipation, as if the universe watched and waited for the next move in this grand cosmic chess game. Every alliance formed, every secret uncovered, and every battle fought carried them closer to a revelation that would change everything. Kale's heart burned with a fierce hope, tempered by the knowledge that the coming trials would demand sacrifices beyond imagination. Yet in the quiet moments before the storm, he found strength in the unity forged through shared pain and unbreakable spirit. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs to shape a future where fear would no longer dictate the course of history, and where the light of Earth's children would shine as a beacon across the stars, illuminating a path toward peace and understanding. Beneath the swirling nebulae and the cold glow of distant suns, the true cost of war began to reveal itself to Kale and the children of Earth. They had emerged victorious in many battles, but the wounds inflicted on the galaxy ran deep and threatened to fester beyond the reach of simple healing. Entire civilizations lay fractured, their voices silenced or scattered across the void. The children's powers, once a source of wonder and hope, now carried a weight of responsibility heavier than any of them had anticipated. Kale could feel it in the air, a tension that pulsed beneath the surface, waiting for a spark to ignite the next conflagration. The ancient cosmic forces, intertwined with their abilities, began to whisper secrets of past cataclysms and the price paid for tampering with fate. As the children grappled with these revelations, they were forced to confront not only external threats, but the darkness within themselves, fear, doubt, and the haunting memories of those they could not save. Every victory was shadowed by loss, every step forward shadowed by the uncertainty of what lay ahead. And yet, in the midst of despair, the spark of hope endured, a fragile flame flickering in the vastness of space, urging them onward. The uneasy peace between Earth's children and their alien allies was fraught with fragile trust and simmering tensions. Old rivalries and deep-seated fears surfaced in moments of weakness, threatening to unravel the delicate fabric of their coalition. Kale, once a reluctant leader, found himself at the heart of a complex web of diplomacy and war strategy, balancing competing interests and the needs of a diverse and sometimes fractious group. The alien defectors, though committed to the cause, struggled with their past allegiances, and their presence was a constant reminder of the thin line between friend and foe. Meanwhile, new factions emerged from the shadows, mysterious groups wielding powers and knowledge that seemed to rival even the children's own abilities. Their motives were unclear, their loyalty uncertain, and their arrival heralded a new chapter of uncertainty and danger. Kale's vision of unity was tested as he navigated this treacherous landscape, knowing that the fate of the galaxy depended not just on strength, but on wisdom, trust, and the willingness to sacrifice for a greater good. As the galaxy held its breath, Kale and his companions prepared to face challenges that transcended physical battlefields. The next phase of their journey would demand courage not only in combat, but in confronting truths long buried beneath layers of history and myth. The children's powers, linked to cosmic forces older than time, promised salvation but also threatened destruction if misused. The path forward was fraught with peril, but Kale's resolve remained unshaken. In the silence before the coming storm, he found solace in the bonds forged through shared hardship and the knowledge that their struggle was part of a larger cosmic design. The future was uncertain, the stakes higher than ever, and the shadows lengthened across the stars. Yet in that darkness, a new light began to emerge, a light born of courage, hope, and the unbreakable spirit of Earth's children, ready to face whatever fate had in store for them. Beneath the vast expanse of starlit skies, Earth's children found themselves standing at the precipice of a new era, one where hope and despair intertwined in a fragile dance. The galaxy, scarred by relentless conflict, echoed with whispers of ancient powers reawakening, and Kale could feel the gravity of their destiny pulling them toward a confrontation that transcended mere war. The very fabric of reality seemed to ripple with tension as cosmic energies surged unpredictably through the children, their powers evolving beyond comprehension. This awakening was both a blessing and a curse, for with newfound strength came a shadow of uncertainty and fear. Kale's mind raced as he grappled with the weight of leadership, knowing that every decision could tip the balance between salvation and annihilation. Around him, alliances held tenuously, fragile as stardust, yet within this delicate unity lay the galaxy's best hope. The children's spirits burned bright, fueled by the memories of sacrifices past and the unwavering belief that their light could pierce even the darkest voids. But beneath the surface, unseen forces stirred, watching, waiting for the moment to strike and test the true limits of their resolve. The Coalition's fragile peace was tested by internal strife and external threats. As factions vied for power and ancient enemies lurked in the shadows, Kale's role expanded beyond warrior to mediator and strategist, navigating a complex web of diplomacy where every word could ignite or extinguish fragile alliances. The alien defectors, still haunted by their histories, questioned their place in a galaxy reshaped by conflict and hope. Meanwhile, new adversaries emerge, enigmatic entities wielding dark, arcane powers that challenged the very essence of the children's abilities. These shadowy figures operated from the fringes, manipulating events with a cold precision that sent ripples through the Coalition's ranks. Trust became a precious commodity, scarce and fragile, as fear threatened to unravel the bonds forged in battle. Kale's vision of a united future faced its greatest test yet, demanding sacrifices and decisions that weighed heavily on his conscience. The path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty, but retreat was no longer an option. The fate of countless worlds depended on their courage and unity. As the cosmic currents shifted and destiny's threads intertwined ever tighter, Kale prepared for the trials that lay ahead, trials that would challenge not only their strength but their very humanity. The children of Earth, once seen as mere survivors, had become the galaxy's last hope, their powers a beacon in the encroaching darkness. The coming conflict promised to be unlike any before, a battle not just of weapons but of wills and souls. Kale's heart burned with a fierce determination, tempered by the knowledge that victory would demand more than strength. It required sacrifice, wisdom, and an unbreakable spirit. And as the first shadows of this new threat stretched across the stars, he understood that their journey was far from over. The light of Earth's children would shine brightest in the darkest hour, illuminating a path toward redemption, unity, and a future forged in the fires of hope. Amid the swirling cosmos, where galaxies shimmered like distant embers in the void, Kale felt the relentless pull of destiny tighten around him. The children of Earth, whose powers had once seemed unpredictable and fragile, now stood as towering beacons of cosmic force, their energy rippling through the fabric of space itself. Yet with this newfound strength came an invisible weight, a silent burden pressing on their hearts and minds. The scars of war etched deep within their souls, reminding them of loved ones lost and futures stolen. Kale walked the fine line between hope and despair, knowing that the next chapter in their saga would demand sacrifices greater than any they had faced before. The galaxy, vast and indifferent, awaited the unfolding of this monumental clash, where not just armies but ideologies, wills, and the very essence of life would be tested. Every flicker of starlight seemed to whisper warnings, and yet, amid the uncertainty, a stubborn flame of courage burned brighter than ever. Within the Coalition, tensions simmered beneath the surface as old wounds reopened and new fears took root. The alien defectors, once allies bound by shared struggle, now harbored doubts about the path ahead. Factions jostled for influence, their motives layered with suspicion and desperation. Kale found himself a reluctant diplomat, navigating treacherous waters where trust was scarce and betrayal lurked in unexpected corners. Meanwhile, the children's powers continued to evolve in strange and sometimes terrifying ways. Their abilities, once gifts, became unpredictable forces capable of reshaping reality itself. Forces that drew attention not only from allies but from shadowy entities lurking beyond the known universe. These mysterious adversaries, wielding dark energies that threatened to consume everything, watched and waited for the moment to strike. Kale's resolve hardened as he realized that the coming battles would demand more than courage. They would require unity, sacrifice, and a faith in the unseen bonds that held them together. As the universe held its breath, the stage was set for a confrontation that would echo through the ages. Kale stood at the heart of this storm, a beacon of hope for Earth's children and their allies. The journey ahead promised trials that would test the limits of their strength and spirit, but also moments of profound revelation and transformation. The future was uncertain, a tapestry woven with threads of light and shadow, and every choice carried the weight of countless lives. Yet even in the face of overwhelming odds, Kale believed in the power of unity and the indomitable will of those who dared to dream of a better tomorrow. As the first signs of the coming storm darkened the horizon, he prepared to lead his people into the unknown, ready to fight for a future where fear no longer held dominion and hope burned eternal across the stars. The galaxy's quiet trembled as a new force stirred beneath its vast expanse, unseen but deeply felt by those sensitive to the cosmic currents. Kale, standing at the helm of Earth's children, sensed the shifting tides of fate with a clarity born from countless battles and hard-won wisdom. The powers that once seemed like sparks of youthful defiance now burned with the intensity of a supernova, threatening to either illuminate the path forward or consume all in their wake. Each child carried within them the legacy of ancient stars, a connection to forces beyond comprehension, and with that came a burden that weighed on their spirits. The once clear lines between friend and foe blurred as shadows deepened, revealing secrets hidden in the darkest corners of the universe. Kale's mind raced, piecing together fragments of prophecy, whispered warnings, and the faint echoes of forgotten civilizations that had vanished beneath the weight of cosmic wars long before their time. This was no longer a fight for survival alone, but a battle for the very soul of existence, where every choice echoed across the fabric of space and time. The children's powers, unpredictable and volatile, became both a beacon of hope and a harbinger of destruction, a paradox that tested the limits of their resolve and unity. In the quiet moments before the coming storm, Kale's heart burned with a mixture of fear and fierce determination, knowing that the future hinged on their ability to embrace the unknown and stand together against forces that sought to unravel reality itself. Beneath the surface of unity, tension simmered as old wounds and new doubts threatened to fracture the fragile alliance. The alien defectors, once united in purpose, now grappled with lingering mistrust and the ghosts of their past allegiances. Their loyalties, though pledged to the cause, were tested by the arrival of enigmatic new players, shadowy figures wielding powers that seemed to warp the very fabric of the universe. These mysterious entities operated from the periphery, manipulating events with cold precision and hidden agendas that sent ripples of unease through the coalition. Kale found himself burdened not only with the defense of the galaxy, but with the delicate task of holding together a coalition fraying at the edges. Every decision carried weight beyond measure, and the stakes grew higher with each passing moment. The children's powers, growing ever more unpredictable, became both a source of hope and a catalyst for fear. Some among them struggled to control these forces, their struggles echoing the internal battles waged by their leaders. As whispers of betrayal and conspiracy grew louder, Kale's role transcended that of a warrior, evolving into the role of a guardian of trust, hope, and the fragile thread of peace that still held the galaxy together. The path ahead was fraught with peril, but retreat was impossible. The children of Earth had become the galaxy's last beacon, and their light had to shine through the gathering darkness. As the cosmic horizon darkened and the first shadows of the new threat stretched across the stars, Kale stood resolute, ready to face whatever came next. The battles ahead promised to be unlike any before, wars fought not only with weapons, but with wills, hearts, and the very essence of existence. The children of Earth, once seen as mere survivors, were now the architects of a future that demanded courage, sacrifice, and an unyielding belief in the power of unity. Kale's spirit burned bright, tempered by the scars of past losses and the unwavering hope that guided them forward. The universe held its breath as they prepared to step into the unknown, their journey a testament to the enduring strength of humanity, and the limitless potential born from their cosmic heritage. And as the first light of dawn broke over distant worlds, a silent promise echoed across the stars, a promise that no matter the darkness ahead, Earth's children would stand as a beacon of hope, their light illuminating the path to a new era of peace and understanding. In the endless tapestry of the cosmos, where stars flicker like distant memories and shadows weave through the void, Kale and the children of Earth faced an awakening that transcended the physical battles they had endured. Their powers, once a source of wonder and mystery, had evolved into forces that defied logic and threatened to unravel the very essence of their existence. This evolution was not without cost. It brought with it a torrent of emotions, fear, awe, and a profound sense of isolation. Each child grappled with the overwhelming weight of their abilities, feeling the pull of cosmic forces that seemed both a gift and a curse. Kale, burdened by leadership and haunted by the losses etched into his soul, understood that their journey was no longer just about survival. It was about confronting the unknown depths of power and responsibility, about learning to wield their gifts without losing themselves to the darkness within. The galaxy watched with bated breath as Earth's children stood on the brink of a transformation that could either save or shatter everything they held dear. Beneath this storm of change, alliances strained under the pressure of uncertainty and fear. The alien defectors, whose loyalty had been hard-won, found themselves torn between old loyalties and the harsh realities of a shifting galaxy. New threats emerged from the shadows, enigmatic entities wielding dark energies that challenged the very foundation of the children's powers. These adversaries operated with ruthless precision, their motives inscrutable and their actions unpredictable. Kale's role expanded beyond that of a warrior to that of a guardian of fragile alliances and fragile hope. Every decision he made echoed through the coalition, each choice a thread in the delicate fabric holding the galaxy's future together. The children's struggles were not just external, they were internal battles against fear, doubt, and the creeping shadows within their own hearts. As the forces of darkness closed in, Kale knew that the coming conflict would test not only their strength, but their very humanity. The dawn of a new chapter in the galaxy's history loomed on the horizon, fraught with peril and possibility. Kale and the children of Earth prepared to face challenges that transcended the physical, venturing into realms where fate and free will collided. The powers they wielded were more than weapons. They were keys to mysteries that had long been hidden among the stars. As the universe held its breath, Kale's resolve hardened. The future would demand sacrifice, courage, and an unbreakable bond forged in the fires of adversity. In this crucible, Earth's children would either find their true purpose or be consumed by the very forces they sought to control. The light that shone from their hearts was a beacon in the encroaching darkness, a promise that even in the face of overwhelming odds, hope would endure. And as the stars flickered in silent witness, Kale stepped forward, ready to embrace the destiny that awaited, knowing that the fate of the galaxy hinged on the strength of their unity and the courage to face the unknown. In the cold abyss of space, where silence stretched beyond the reach of light, the children of Earth faced a trial unlike any before. Their powers, once nascent and unpredictable, now surged with a force that threatened to consume them entirely. Kale stood at the center of this maelstrom, burdened by the knowledge that the fragile balance of their alliance teetered on the edge of collapse. The cosmic energies that intertwined with their very beings had begun to ripple with dangerous unpredictability, igniting fears both ancient and immediate. The galaxy watched silently as the children struggled to master these newfound depths, their victories overshadowed by the growing shadows that lurked in the void. Kale's thoughts drifted to the sacrifices that had brought them here. The friends lost, the world shattered, and he knew that the stakes had never been higher. This was a battle for the soul of their species, for the survival of hope itself amid an encroaching darkness that sought to snuff out their light forever. Tensions within the coalition simmered as whispers of betrayal and mistrust wormed their way into the hearts of allies. The alien defectors, still haunted by the ghosts of their past allegiances, found their loyalty tested by the enigmatic new forces that manipulated events from the shadows. These mysterious entities wielded power that defied understanding, twisting reality and threatening to unravel the children's hard-won unity. Kale's role as leader had expanded beyond strategy and combat to encompass diplomacy and guardianship over fragile bonds, stretched thin by fear and uncertainty. Every decision carried the weight of countless lives, and the pressure bore down on him relentlessly. Among the children, fear gnawed at their resolve, and some struggled with the volatility of their abilities, the very gifts that made them the galaxy's last hope, becoming potential agents of destruction. Yet even as doubt crept in, a quiet determination endured, a shared conviction that they could forge a future brighter than the shadows that pressed around them. As the forces of darkness gathered strength, Kale knew that mere strength of arms would not be enough to secure victory. The coming trials would test their spirits, their hearts, and their capacity for sacrifice. The children's connection to ancient cosmic energies held secrets that could turn the tide. But unlocking those secrets demanded confronting fears buried deep within themselves and the universe's darkest corners. Kale's nights were filled with visions, fleeting glimpses of a future where light and shadow clashed in a final reckoning. He saw the faces of those they had lost, the price of peace etched into their memories, and the fragile hope of redemption shining through the darkness. It was a heavy burden, but one he bore with unshakable resolve. The galaxy's fate hung in the balance, and the children of Earth were poised to become either its saviors or its undoing. In the midst of mounting peril, moments of unexpected grace and courage emerged. Allies forged new bonds amid the chaos, and the children discovered strengths they had never imagined. Kale witnessed acts of heroism that rekindled his hope. The quiet defiance of those who refused to succumb to despair, the sparks of friendship that ignited even in the bleakest moments. Yet these lights flickered against an ever-darkening backdrop, a reminder that the path ahead was perilous and uncertain. The coalition's survival depended not only on their powers, but on the resilience of their spirits and the willingness to trust in each other when all else seemed lost. The whispered promises of the ancient cosmic forces beckoned, urging them to embrace their destiny and wield their gifts with wisdom and compassion. But the shadows whispered too, seducing with power and despair, threatening to fracture their unity from within. As the chapter of calm before the storm drew to a close, Kale stood on the threshold of the unknown, his heart heavy yet unyielding. The galaxy held its breath, poised on the edge of chaos and creation, and the children of Earth prepared to face the trials that would define their legacy. Their journey was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun. The light that burned within them was both fragile and fierce, a beacon to guide them through the encroaching darkness. The stakes had never been higher, and the cost of failure unimaginable. Yet Kale's spirit burned bright, fueled by hope, courage, and the unbreakable bonds forged in the fires of adversity. As the first shadows of the new threat crept across the stars, he knew that whatever lay ahead, Earth's children would face it together, a united force destined to either save the galaxy or be consumed by the darkness they fought so desperately to extinguish. The galaxy's fragile calm shattered as new revelations rippled through the coalition, sending shockwaves of doubt and fear to every corner of their fragile alliance. Kale stood amidst the turmoil, the weight of leadership pressing on him heavier than ever before. The children of Earth, whose powers had grown to awe-inspiring levels, faced threats not only from external enemies but from the shadows within their own ranks. Secrets long buried began to surface, whispers of betrayals, hidden agendas, and sacrifices made in silence. The bonds forged in the fires of war were tested as alliances frayed and old wounds reopened. Kale's mind raced, piecing together the threads of a complex web that threatened to unravel everything they had fought to protect. The future, once a beacon of hope, now seemed clouded with uncertainty, as the children grappled with the knowledge that the greatest dangers might come from those they called allies. Beneath the surface of growing mistrust, the children's powers continued to evolve in unpredictable ways, some manifesting abilities that defied comprehension and challenged the very fabric of reality. These new capabilities, while potent, carried a heavy cost, draining their vitality and threatening to consume their humanity. Kale watched with growing concern as some children struggled to control the surging energies within them, their battles internal as fierce as those waged against external foes. The mysterious forces manipulating events from the shadows capitalized on these vulnerabilities, sowing discord and fear with cold precision. As the coalition's unity faltered, Kale realized that leadership demanded more than strategy. It required healing wounds invisible to all but the most perceptive. The children's survival hinged on their ability to confront not only their enemies but their own fears and doubts, forging a strength tempered by trust and sacrifice. Amid the chaos, moments of profound courage and unexpected alliances emerged, flickers of light in the encroaching darkness. Kale found solace in the resilience of those who refused to surrender to despair, the quiet bravery of the young warriors who carried the weight of the galaxy on their shoulders, and the steadfast loyalty of allies who risked everything for a shared vision of peace. These acts of heroism rekindled hope and reminded Kale of the power of unity in the face of overwhelming odds. Yet, the threats they faced grew ever more complex, their enemies evolving and adapting with terrifying speed. The ancient cosmic forces that bound the children to the universe whispered warnings and promises alike, urging them to embrace their destiny with courage and wisdom. But shadows lurked still, waiting for the moment to strike, threatening to undo all that had been built. Kale understood that the coming trials would demand sacrifices unlike any before, and that the true test lay not in power alone, but in the strength of their hearts. The horizon darkened as the final phase of the conflict approached, a storm of cosmic proportions that would decide the fate of countless worlds. Kale stood resolute, his spirit unbroken despite the mounting challenges. The children of Earth had become more than survivors. They were the galaxy's last hope, a beacon of light in the vast darkness. Their journey was one of transformation and redemption, a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity and the limitless potential born from unity and belief. The path ahead was fraught with peril, but it was also illuminated by the bonds forged through shared struggle and sorrow.